What is up, everybody? It is Og here, back with another video, and in today's video, we're running through the Mara 500 pool post AOE cap. The goal of this is basically to see if the Mara 500 pool is still possible after the AOE cap goes live. For those who did not know, the AOE cap went live on the beta tonight, and so I wanted to run through and test all of the AOE farms. So over the next few videos, we're going to be running through each of those AOE farms: SM, Mara, ZG, Stockades, typical Mage farms, and see whether or not those farms are still going to be possible with the AOE caps included. If you didn't know what the AOE cap is, basically, if you take the damage that a ability will do outside of Arcane Explosion and outside of ground effects, so like the Flame Strike dot effect or Consecration, and you multiply it by 10, then you divide it by the total number of mobs that it hits, that's how much damage the spell is going to do. So the easy way to think about it with Blizzard, for example, is take a tick of Blizzard, multiply it by 10, divide it by the total number of mobs you're hitting. That is what makes this pool so daunting when you think about what the AOE cap could do, because if you're hitting close to 500 mobs with one Blizzard, it's going to do, in theory, 1/50th of the damage that it normally would do. And so you're going to see some pretty entertaining numbers at the end of this video. Now, I wanted to make this video and test everything, not to say that, these farms are still going to be possible. They're going to be much more difficult, but it's mainly to show the people who do want to continue to do these farms whether or not it is possible and what strategies they might be able to employ to still do them if they wanted to. Mage boosting is something that's been, a very controversial topic in Classic, and so I completely understand where people are coming from if they don't enjoy it, but personally, I think at this point it's liked by a lot of people. A lot of people enjoy it. It's a great way for them to make gold, and it's what they kind of go on to make gold, and also to level up their tunes to get ready for TBC and help level up their friends. This Mara 500 pool, for example, if done efficiently, pre-AOE cap, we'll see how long it takes post-AOE cap, can net about anywhere between 50 and 70% of a level in a matter of about 22 minutes. So it's an incredible way for people to level up their alts or help their friends level up and things like that. And so I wanted to make this video for those people to still see if they can do that. Whether or not they wanted to, we'll see. It'll be interesting to see if there's any more changes going to beta, but that's up to Blizzard. That is also the whole entire point of beta, though, is to test these things so that if Blizzard decides that they don't want this in the game anymore, they can make changes to make that happen. So I'm not going to run through how to actually do the pool. I do have a video for that. If you guys want to check it out, I'll have it linked down below. But the point of this is basically to speed through the actual run itself to show that nothing changes with the actual run and make sure that you guys see that, this is a valid run. I'm just not just magically getting to the kill phase or something like that. But then focus on the kill phase strategy. So obviously when we're doing Blizzard, and we're typically doing right now about 40 some damage a tick with Blizzard rank 1, and with the spell power increases to Blizzard in beta, doing about 60 damage per tick with rank 1, hitting 500 mobs is going to cause us to do about 1/50 of the damage. You will literally see 1 damage ticks in the kill phase. This is not sustainable to continue to do Blizzard like this. It would take forever. And so what I've been recommending to people on my stream over the past, I don't know however many months, is to get the Blade of Eternal Darkness. The Blade of Eternal Darkness is basically a dagger that has a chance on hit to return to you 100 mana and also do an additional 100 mana to the mobs. So you might notice that I turned on the scrolling combat text for mana to see when we're getting back mana ticks. The 343s are the Magic Absorption talent, which means that we resist an ability, or a magical ability, and so it gives us back 5% of our total mana. The 100 mana ticks, though, are the Blade of Eternal Darkness, and that's going to be integral to this farm. The second thing that's going to be integral is the Flame Strike dot. So as I said before, ground effect dots are not impacted by the AOE cap. Main reason for this, at least I think, is for Consecration. Prot Pallies are obviously a big thing in TBC. In order for Prot Pallies to keep aggro, they're going to need to be able to Consecrate. If Consecrate is nerfed to the ground, they probably won't be able to keep aggro as easily. But there you can see the first 1 and 2 hits from our rank 1 Blizzard. The strategy in the kill phase is similar to what it used to be. However, instead of going for max rank Blizzard once we have them stacked up, we focus on Flame Strike. Now I'm going to go over the talents at the end, and so definitely check out those to see how I'm able to cast Flame Strike from this far. But we did have to switch up our talents a little bit in order to be able to cast Flame Strike safely. The most difficult part of the Mara 500 pool is that there are mobs called Barbed Lashers. Those Barbed Lashers can do a ranged stun on you, and that's why we have to kill on this totem and not the other totem, like the other pools, the 200 and the 340. So being on this totem, if we get too close to the side to try to cast Flame Strike, because it's typically, I believe, a 30-yard range, we're unable to do so. So instead, we have to go and get that extra flame, I think it's called flame throwing, but that talent to get the extra 6 yards of Flame Strike. When we do that, though, what we can do is we can cast a rank 1 Blizzard, get all the mobs slowed, and then once they're all slowed, put a Flame Strike in front of the mobs, then slow the mobs again as they go through that Flame Strike. Now, I started off putting the Flame Strike right where the mobs were, but then they kind of run out of Flame Strike a little bit early. So I would recommend kind of moving it ahead in the future. You'll also see sometimes I get a little bit greedy and I go for multiple rank 1 Blizzards. But what you can also see is you can see a lot of Flame Strike damage going out because the Flame Strike dot is still hitting for 91. I don't have a lot of spell power, to be honest. I have about 300 spell power. My gear is 5-piece T2. You will need 5-piece T2 for this strategy. Otherwise, your Flame Strike and your Blizzard just probably won't be big enough. I guess you probably could do it without 5-piece T2 now that you have batching, but it's not going to be very fun. So I would recommend trying to have the 5-piece T2 before pre-patch if you can. But what you can see is that with Flame Strike, we're able to continue to do damage to the mobs. It will take a bit longer. The kill phase prior to Flame Strike took me about 5 minutes. I was definitely not the most efficient with the kill phase by any stretch of the imagination, but 5 minutes was pretty decent, so I could get about 20 minutes for the entire run. 15 minutes for the run up to the kill phase, and then 5 minutes for the kill phase, and then it took about 2 minutes to run, or 2 to 3 minutes to run back to the start of the next run. So it was about 22 to 23 minutes for an entire round trip. The only difference here is that it's going to add about 5 minutes to your run each time. You'll also notice that I started going for double Flame Strike at times. And so what I started realizing was that I could put the Flame Strike a little bit further ahead, slow them, drop another Flame Strike a little bit behind, slow them, and then when I flip sides, we're actually able to basically get that extra Flame Strike going. If you have mobs like this with these vile larvas, though, I recommend just taking them out with Arcane Explosion so you don't need to worry about them. One other interesting thing that you could do as well during the pool is you could start intermingling different ranks of Flame Strike. And so at one point I actually went into my spellbook and picked out different ranks of Flame Strike. Why would I do this? Well, basically, when one Flame Strike is on the ground, if another Flame Strike goes on the ground, both will tick for damage. So if you get really good at this and you have the Illusionist set from ZG, or you have another way to increase the haste of your Flame Strike cast, whether it be MQG, Icy Veins, or the other, I keep on wanting to say T.5 set, but it's not the T.5 set, but it reduces it by 0.25 seconds. You can end up potentially doing double Flame Strikes every single time. With double Flame Strikes, you can get ticks on the ground for 168 pop every single time. And as you hold the mobs in Blizzard and get those full durations going, that's the equivalent of doing a full rank 1 or max rank Blizzard right now. And so it's basically this almost the same speed as doing the kill live right now. But to be honest, even safer. Because with this extra range on Flame Strike and just being able to, maintain or control the mobs with the batching changes, this pool becomes pretty safe. So the only difficult part of the Mara 500 pool at that point becomes the actual pool itself. And once you get that down, it's pretty rinse and repeat every single time. Big story of the day, though, is the fact that the Mara 500 pool, as I said in a previous video when I was talking about the first try that I went on the beta, first things I tried out, is possible. The Mara 500 pool will 100% be possible. You don't need crazy good gear to pull it off, but if this comes live with pre-patch, will be possible with pre-patch. Up to Blizzard, whether or not that they want to make any changes moving forward, I have no idea what their goals are, whether they like these farms or not, whether they think it's entertaining or not, I have no idea. But at the end of the day, right now, we are able to do the Mara 500 pools. It takes about 27 minutes to run, so about a full 30-minute lap. But with the increased XP, I think we actually get from monsters inside dungeons as well as the quest. I know it's 100% the quest. I think it's from dungeon monsters as well in TBC. That means that we're probably going to net out pretty much the same as a 22-minute run that we have on live right now. And so the overall experience is probably going to be about the same in about 50 to 70% of a level per run. Or sorry, more than that. About 150% of a level per hour. I think this might be the first time that I'm actually going into all 3 talent trees. One big change with Mara is, of course, the Flame Strike, and being able to cast a Flame Strike from as far away as possible is huge. So actually go into the Fire Tree to get 7 points, or 7 points total in the Fire Tree to get Flame Throwing. Increasing our range of fire spells by 6 yards, it's going to make the world of a difference to not getting stunned to getting stunned. Highly recommend that. Outside of that, I try to fill in as much as I can with our normal kind of builds. Unfortunately, there's no real way to get to Arcane Meditation while also having Ice Barrier, so we have to sacrifice the Arcane Meditation. Fortunately, though, if you have BOED and you're also getting fed mana back from the Poison Sprites, shouldn't be too much of an issue in the kill phase to keep up your mana. So Arcane Meditation shouldn't be too much of an issue as long as you are being mana conservative throughout the run. Icy Veins, though, very nice. Ice Flows, getting that Ice Barrier up as quickly as possible during the jumps back and forth, trying to keep that Blizzard and trying to keep the mobs contained is going to be very, very useful throughout the run.